Hey Cinderellas, welcome back to my channel. Today what we're going to talk about the different types of foundations that are on the market and figuring out which one is the right one for you. So a sheer foundation is really great because it's great for just a very light, natural, everyday type of look. But a lot of foundations come in sheer to medium coverage. So you can do like an extra layer to give a more of a fuller coverage, like a medium coverage, a liquid foundation that comes already in a full coverage. And those you can also kind of reverse engineer. If you add a little bit of moisturizer, your everyday moisturizer, you can shear them out to make them a little bit lighter. So that's your liquid foundation, okay? So now your cream foundation is good for dry skin. A cream foundation, it looks like sometimes like a little bit of a cake, or it's like more like a creamy mousse type of foundation. And those are really great for women that maybe have drier skin, maybe you have more mature skin. And what it does is it's a little extra hydrating. Some cream foundations also have like light reflective properties in them to make your skin look a little bit like younger because the light reflects off of that cream foundation. So I would definitely recommend, if you're drier or more mature skin, you definitely can go with like more of a cream foundation. Now, stick foundations. Stick foundations, there's a lot of different stick foundations on the market. The ones I've seen commonly used by like makeup artists are the Anastasia stick foundations. I've seen some from Mented also, from Tom Ford. So stick foundation is great. It's a little bit more of a fuller coverage type of foundation. It is good for your oily skin. A stick foundation, you really have to warm it up on the skin before you apply it on the face so it glides. But I found with people with oily skin, it moves over their skin very effortlessly, very seamlessly, because their skin is already a little bit warmer and it has more of the oils that just help it move. I've seen stick foundations used typically more for theater makeup, stage makeup, TV. It is a really beautiful coverage. It's good if you even want to precisely, contour a face or highlight a face. It's super easy to use. I like stick also. I typically don't tend to work often with stick foundation, but I do like the look of stick because it really helps you define a face. It really helps you carve out, that like perfect like chiseled features just by like applying the stick and then blending it with your brushes and your sponges everywhere. And then the last type of foundation is the powder foundation. Powder foundation is essential must-have for your oily skin gal or guy. And really powder foundation is a powder form of foundation where it's, it comes in a powder, but it gives you that full coverage effect of like a cream or a liquid or a stick foundation. And so, you are a lot of powder foundations, they come with like a sponge and you're just able to like, take a little bit of the sponge and like swipe the foundation and wipe it all across the face. You can also, if you want more of a sheer kind of look, you can use like a fluffy brush and like dust the powder foundation. Sometimes what I've done is to set my liquid foundation, I've used the matching color of like a powder foundation just to set it and give it more of a full coverage, full glam on look. But that's your powder foundation. And it's not to be confused with like your translucent powders, your loose powders, your setting powders. That's kind of different. Your powder foundation is really a full coverage type of powder that it dupes for like your foundation. It basically is your foundation. You're not using liquid, you're not using a cream, you're using that powder to completely cover your face. So those are the four different types of foundations, and based on your skin type, that's the easiest way to choose the right one for you. With your liquid foundations, you have so many different types of finishes. It's very versatile, like I mentioned before. You can have a satin finish, which is kind of like in between a dewy and a matte. So it's like more of a satin finish, so it doesn't look overly dry and matte. It doesn't look overly like hydrated. It's a really flawless type of finish. I like typically using a satin finish when it comes to bridal. Then you have your matte finish. I know my oily girls, they love matte finish. They don't want shine, they don't want too much highlighter. and none of that is like what they're looking for. And then you have your dewy finish, and your dewy finish is that like J-Lo glow. You don't set the powder, you don't set a lot of powder onto this dewy liquid foundation. It's just meant to like just make your face glow and shimmer, and it's a really great look. It's not like on a hot, humid day, I wouldn't say like that's my go-to look, because you're gonna end up looking like a grease bomb. Dewy is beautiful in the right setting. And that is the different types of finishes for your liquid foundation. With cream foundation, I find that it's good for people that have dry skin or normal to dry skin, and I love it because it's a little bit more hydrating than your regular liquid foundation. It has a lot of different moisturizing properties. It's a little bit thicker, it's a little bit denser, so sometimes it does tend to have like more of a fuller coverage. But I know for my mature skin clients, they really, really love more of a cream type of foundation, and you can apply it even if it has a denser coverage. You can apply it like with a very light type of stippling brush or sponge, and just stipple the product and just blend it and buff it out a little bit to make it look very, very natural. So stick foundation is something you would find in, like, let's say a theatrical makeup artist, a makeup bag, maybe someone who works more editorial or print, somebody who is working backstage at Fashion Week. That's where you're gonna find like your heavier users of like your stick foundations. Okay, then you have powder foundation. Powder foundation is for our oily skin gal. It is it creates like a full coverage. It comes in like a pancake type of format. It comes usually typically with a sponge. You take the sponge and you really just basically powder your face and powder that shine away, and really create like a nice full coverage look with your powder foundation. If you're dry and you use powder foundation, which I have totally seen so many girls do, you're gonna look cakey, you're gonna look dry, your skin is gonna look off. And that's why I really wanted to create this video, is just to really like help you guys understand the different types of foundations and which one you would use based on your skin type. There's so many different textures. Texture of product makes a difference. Also application, like how you apply that product on your face, makes a difference too. So that's your powder foundation. It is really beautiful for people who have truly oily skin. Not combination where your cheeks are dry, maybe your forehead is oily, like truly oily skin. Powder foundation for you is the way to go. And I know a lot of people, they like sometimes use Bare Minerals on their face and they're dry, and then they end up looking more dry. Ladies, please don't use that. Please don't do that. Don't walk into a store and decide, okay, like this is good because it looks natural. There's other ways that you can go. You know, another type of makeup foundation that I did not mention, which is not like a real true foundation, but it's your CC cream. So that's the CC cream, and the CC cream is really, really nice. CC stands for color correcting. So whether you're a brown girl, you're a lighter skin, whatever skin tone you are, a CC cream is really nice because it is very sheer. It does create like a very nice look. It has a lot of CC creams come with SPF. One of the ones that I use from Artistry is SPF 50, which I absolutely love. And when it's the summertime, I'm on vacation, or if it's warm out, CC cream for me is the way to go. And that's like another type. I would definitely put it in the foundation category because it does give you some coverage. It's not fully covering you all over, but it gives you a nice, sheer, natural looking coverage, okay? And that's your CC cream. So that's what you want to use. If you want that like Bare Minerals type of effect, don't go use powder if you're dry. You're gonna look cakey. You need to use like a CC cream. The sixth type of foundation, which I do a lot in my pro application, people ask for it. I'm surprised not all makeup artists do it. I know everybody has their own different techniques. I personally love it, and that's airbrush foundation. And airbrush foundation is really, really great because it gives you a really, really nice sealed, flawless finish. Now, I don't use airbrush foundation, there's two ways to use it. Let me back up real quick. So airbrush foundation, you can use straight on the skin, on the bare skin. But if you have scarring, if you have discoloration, if you have something that needs to be covered up, number one, conceal first and then airbrush over it. But if you want more of a fuller coverage, I like to personally use my liquid foundation and then seal my liquid with my airbrush. And then if I need to powder, I powder a little bit, but that's what for me creates a really, really nice, strong, finished, flawless type of look. Airbrush foundation I use is Tem2. Tem2 is really great because they not only are a pro brand, but they also have created some really great personal use tools. So they have like your personal Tem2 face kit. A lot of like clients that I've had that after I've done their weddings or whatnot, they decide that they want to like use airbrush, and so they end up buying those personalized kits, and it's a really, really nice way to look very natural. What's really great about airbrush foundation is that it is silicone based or water based. For if you want like that staying power, you definitely want to buy the silicone based formula. The water-based formula, if you sweat, anything, it's gonna start to drip off and it's not gonna stay. With the silicone, what airbrush does is the liquid is very, very finely milled. And so when you spray it on the face, it fills in any pores, any gaps that are left from even your foundation that you applied on, or even if you leave it straight on the bare skin. And what it does is it just creates like almost like a seal. It really creates that nice flawless finish on the face, but it is also sweat resistant. It is kind of like a little bit of water resistant also. I've had brides wear this from like 7 o'clock in the morning to like midnight and their faces stay the same. And it's also because of the technique and how I've taught them how to apply their foundation, or how I've applied the foundation, but also how it's applied on the face. But the airbrush is really, really nice for that. So those are your 6 types of foundations. You have your liquid, you have your cream, okay, you have your CC cream, then you have your stick, and then you have your powder, and then you have your airbrush. So those are the 6 different types of foundations and why and when you would use them. And then let me really quickly go over like what tools you would use for each of the foundations. So foundation 1 that we talked about with liquid, I like to use, when I apply liquid, I like to use my hands. Hands sometimes are your best tools, and I do like using my hands, the warmth of my hands, and just like really massaging and spreading the foundation into my skin. The other thing that you can use is you can use a foundation brush, like almost like a dome-shaped brush. Let me just show you that real quick. So when you're using liquid, you can definitely use your hands, like I said. You can use one of these like dome-shaped brushes. I love this because this type of brush really allows you to like stipple and place the product into your skin and really make like a really nice, clean, smooth finish. Okay, the other thing you can use is you can use a wet sponge. This sponge is really nice because it has like a smaller side, which allows me to get underneath the eyes, and then it also has a flat side, which really allows you to like press the foundation into the skin. Love this for your liquids. You can totally use the same tools, like I said, your hands, your brush, or your sponge for a cream. For your CC cream, I personally think your hands are just easier, so I definitely would recommend that. And then for your stick foundations, you can use like a flat foundation brush or something that's like a little bit more stiff. You have to kind of warm the product a little bit. You can directly apply it to the face also, and use something like just a little bit more of a stiffer type of brush that's gonna really allow you to move the product. I find even with this, like you can go in with something like stronger like this to move the product around the face, and then just to buff it out, you can use a brush like this. So even these two would be great for a stick foundation. Then you have your powder foundation, and I would definitely recommend your sponge. I'm gonna actually show you one more sponge that you probably typically see with a lot of your powder foundation palettes, because they come with like a flat sponge. So let me show you that real quick. And so the powder foundation, you're gonna typically see like a sponge that looks like this inside your powder compact, and that's gonna kind of be what you would use to apply your powder foundation. And then the last type of foundation is the airbrush foundation, and this is the airbrush machine gun that I typically use when I airbrush and spray like clients. Typically for myself, I'm not like the one to sit there and like airbrush my face. I typically on a daily basis, I have normal to dry skin, so I use liquid, like a liquid foundation. That's what I have on right now. I will use like a CC cream, but those are like my two go-tos. I sometimes will use like a cream, like a stick to do like contouring and highlighting, but that's kind of like at the max of what I would typically use. But my go-to is liquid. So I hope you found this video helpful in like understanding the different types of foundations that are on the market and figuring out which one is the right one for you. If you enjoy this video, please give a big thumbs up. Make sure you like it and you subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications so when we have new videos pop up, which we post once a week, you'll be able to see some of these new videos and follow along and just like learn. For me, like when I started my makeup journey, there wasn't a lot of YouTube, there wasn't a lot of that, and like I learned as coming through the ranks and through the years, I learned from so many other YouTubers, and I'm just really excited to be able to share it and give it back. So with that, love you Cinderellas, see you later, bye.